I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Number 2, we will call to order the February 19th, 2026 Village Board meeting. Roll call shows all trustees present, all staff is present, and our attorney Ashley is present. 4 agenda changes. Are there any? Okay. 5 consent agenda. A, presentation of accounts and other claims against the village. If there are no questions, I would need a motion to accept.
I'll make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Roll call, Jim.
Aye.
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 Motion carried. 6, pre-registered citizens to be heard. Are there any?
No.
Okay. 7, committee reports. A, library board. Carrie?
We had our meeting Monday, and we went over, a big part was the annual report, which I'm gonna leave Ally to tell you the good news on that, because it was very, very good. So, and she'll be able to share more on the details for you.
Okay. And we will move to 8, unfinished business from previous meetings, and there is none. 9, new business. A, proclamation Arbor Week.
So this is part of us, a requirement of ours to continue to be a Tree City USA.
And we are accepting it as presented. Correct?
Yep.
Okay. Then we will move on to B, discussion and possible action on planning and zoning recommendation to approve conditional use CU-1-26.
So this conditional use basically was required as the owners are trying to sell to another person, and basically what happened is their house was at one point a duplex, and they must have been rezoned as R1, single family, and then so they were allowed to kind of keep it as a non-conforming use. The owners had a single person living there for over a year at time. In the time they kind of combined the 2 floors, is my understanding. So then it basically reverted after a year. It reverts back to the original zoning. So in order to, in an R1 single family residential district, in order to have a duplex going forward, you would have to have a conditional use. So that's why they came to the meeting, and we had a public hearing. There was I think a couple that came in and had some concerns on the zoning. I think part of that was some of the wording that came out when the notice went out. It basically said rezoning for multifamily, and I kind of explained that in the ordinance it says for multifamily, but they're requesting a duplex, a 2-family residential, so it's not necessarily multifamily. I guess I don't know. The other topics we talked about were having it go from in perpetuity. So there's a way to kind of do a conditional use and say, you know, as long as the future owners are abiding by whatever conditions are put on the property, that they would be able to keep it that way. And I think the planning and zoning board felt that that was too much to do, and they wanted to do it an owner by owner option. Is that kind of what you guys remember from the meeting?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the concern was just that it was worded in the letter that it made it look like a multi-family type thing, and it was a single family.
Mm-hmm.
And the perpetuity was a topic of concern, and the planning and zoning recommended it going forward as long as it was by the owner. So you sell the property, then the new owner could come back and ask for conditional use. Because really it's always going to stay R1 unless the board rezones it, right? But it's R1 with a conditional use allowing a second residence at that property. That's how I understand it.
I just got more confused.
It always
temporary-
was
No, so, okay, so.
R2.
Somebody correct me when I go astray here, so it was R2, then it got rezoned to R1 with everything else, and then it
No.
got,
No,
no?
It's always been R1.
Okay, so it's always been R1, okay, but then it had non-conforming use approval, so then it was it was a
Technically-
duplex.
it was grandfathered because it was being used as a duplex for what, 70-plus years?
Before it was R1.
Actually, as it was
No.
R1.
As it
It
was
had been
R1.
used
So
as
it's
a,
being used without anybody knowing it was being a duplex.
and
Well,
And
then,
then
the
it was-
village knew it, because
Okay.
there were always 2 garbages, 2 recycled cans.
Okay, but at some point, somebody made it official and allowed it as a non-conforming use? Is that, no?
no,
It
No.
was just grandfathered
It
in.
was just,
was it R2?
how did it
No.
get grandfathered in?
For that-
There's
So-
not record.
Okay,
That's the issue.
Okay.
It was an old 2-family, and I record that it's been R1, but I don't have anything else before that. I have
Okay.
no record of a zoning change or anything like that. So my thought was either building permits were taken out, or it could have been that basically it was like that, and then when zoning became more prevalent here, maybe they switched it to the zoning they wanted it to be in, and then basically,
so I'll start over. So it's always been a duplex, or for the
from what we've been
reasonable
told.
history.
70-plus years.
But it was zoned as R1,
Correct.
and
At some point.
at some point, but then they had one single person living in there
Made
instead
it
of having it
into-
as a duplex.
Made it into a one-family home.
Okay.
They blocked off some.
Which, and then after a certain period of time, it reverted to R1 now,
Right.
which it was always R1. That was where
Well,
I really started
so-
getting confused.
It returned to, it got away from non-conforming. It used to
Okay.
be a non-conforming use, and now it's a conforming use because it's used as a single
Okay.
family. And then in order to get to a duplex again, they would have to do a conditional use.
Okay, so now the owners, I'm assuming this right
Right.
here, want to sell it, but they want to sell it as available as a non-conforming use.
It would be conforming then. So, sorry,
Because we would be,
And then the
P&Z said
perpetuity,
to
yeah.
go ahead and make it.
because the conditional use
The
was
two
never
now.
approved before because they never,
Okay,
but if they got a conditional use, then going forward, until the new owners came in, they would also have to go for a conditional use because they're not pushing it as a,
okay, so if we say okay, if we say okay, this is what got me with Julie, that's why I said I'm more confused. We say, okay, today, we agree, conditional use, then they sell it, the new owners have to come back again
Yes,
and get it.
or prior to them selling it, they can do it as a agent, basically apply on behalf of the owners.
the reason being,
So-
Jim, to maybe clear up some of the confusion, is the current owner that they want it, but if somebody new is coming in, they're gonna use it as a investment type of property that the zoning may not grant it. But the idea is that it would be, as long as it meets that conditional use, it would be granted.
This is allowing them to sell it as a potential R2.
Potential R1 with
With
conditional
conditional
use.
use for
It was
R2.
an interesting meeting. It was an interesting meeting.
It sounds like it.
But
Yeah.
it's not as confusing as it sounds, it's just, I think, the perpetual. Like,
Yes.
once you give somebody that conditional use, then a new buyer coming in would get that conditional use, and do you want that new buyer, do you want this to be forever a conditional use, or could it revert?
As long as
Like,
the owner-
let's say somebody comes, they're a new owner, different situation, the zoning board might not agree to making that a conditional use.
Okay,
Very similar to we have greenhouses downtown,
yeah,
which is not a permitted use in the downtown,
yeah.
but it was grandfathered.
Right.
So if somebody wanted to purchase that property going forward, they would need to come and get a conditional use to keep greenhouses there.
Okay.
It's very similar to that.
Okay. So I just got confused when you said, well, we'd have to approve it for conditional use now, and then if they sell it, we'd have to approve it, potentially approve it again. So I don't see, I assume that this was so that they could sell it and the people buying it would think it was conditional use, but it's not conditional use for them, it's only for the current owners, and then they have to do this process again.
But a potential owner could put an offer in
Yeah,
with the idea that they get approved before they even close.
okay, that, all right, I got you, okay. Sorry, that was a little,
It was a really
It was a
interesting,
long
it was a very
discussion.
interesting meeting.
Yeah, it was a long discussion, and
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
so we would need a
Okay.
motion to either approve or deny.
I'll make a motion to approve the conditional use CU-1-26.
I'll second that.
Roll call, Jim?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. C, discussion on less mow May, discussion only.
So I just wanted to make the board aware, I have a article that's gonna be in the next Village Voice, but basically in the past, we've done no mow May, for benefits to pollinators and things like that. We've been, actually suspended our ordinance on grass heights for the month of May. The problem is in years like last year where it was 70 degrees in February, the grass gets so long that it kind of defeats the whole purpose of it anyway. And there's literature out there now that, you have better access to flowering plants if you keep your yard more in the 4 to 6 inch range anyway. So suspending our ordinance of 8 inches max really doesn't do you any good, because by that time the grass is too long to benefit any pollinators anyway. So this year we're not going to suspend the ordinance and just put it out in the Village Voice that there are still things that you can do for pollinators with less mow May if you choose to, and then also has some additional information on things you can do in your yard, such as with native wildflowers and stuff like that, that actually provide a lot better pollinator habitat.
So
than
you can
your
still go
yard
up to
does.
that 8 inches if you really, really want to, but
Mhm.
does
Technically,
not really benefit.
yeah.
No,
Okay.
we caved last year, we mowed, but in the spirit of it, to try and encourage the pollinators,
Right.
I like the idea,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it makes more sense, even if that's what you're trying to do, it's more beneficial to mow it anyway, so.
Any other comments? Okay, then we will move to D, discussion on Main Street crosswalk, and it's discussion only.
So this was kind of that crosswalk that we approved at kind of the last meeting. There was some questions that came up, but I think there was some people who thought they had some concerns on some of on choosing the west or east side, and they just kind of wanted to, I think, talk through it a little more. I think there were some concerns with how close it is to the east side, where you have a smaller amount of businesses compared to the vast majority of the businesses are more towards the west side. So that's why I put it back on the agenda for discussion and allow the board to kind of talk through it if they have any
Okay.
concerns.
So, something didn't, before we made all those decisions of the east side versus the west side on Pine Street and all that stuff, I guess I didn't picture in my head Main Street, and then I actually had to walk downtown and do some counting. The amount of businesses west of Pine Street is 19, if you count 4 businesses in the 204 West Main in that suite. The amount of businesses east of Pine is 5. So it seems insignificant, but I think we need to move that crosswalk to the west side of that intersection. Historically, people are using the east side, right? But once that is developed down there and with parking, we literally have 19 businesses to the west of that intersection. And I'm counting the Opera House as well. I'm not just going to Mill Street. I'm going to Briggs. Once I did the math, and then I was also thinking too, if you're on the west side of Pine Street, there's probably more visibility for people crossing, because when you are on that east side, you've got that curve by the lanes there. I'm just doing the math, but I'm also thinking about visibility. So like when I went down there and I stood on that east side, and then I looked at the visibility, okay, there's cars parked in front of the lanes, and that little bit of a curve there, I can't really see. Granted, there's a stop sign, I get it. If I go to the west side, it is a little bit more visibility. And then when I mentioned something to Nathan, he also mentioned that there might even be an additional parking stall we could gain downtown if we moved it to the west side. I'm just doing the math. 19 businesses on one side of Pine, 5 on the other, and I think we need to keep it centrally located. I know I made an error in saying that the east side would be better. I would rather it on the west.
For the parking portion, you have to be 15 feet from a crosswalk for parking spaces, so you would have more if you were on the west. You'd have more parking on the east side available from that, but.
I don't think it makes a big a difference. So I remember during our discussion, the only reason that I thought the east side was because that's where everybody crosses now.
Correct, and that's
I mean,
where I thought
that's
too.
where all the foot traffic is it was over there, so.
And I had to cross the other day to go to a historical society meeting, and I looked at the storefronts and I looked at everything, and I started doing the math, and I'm like, this is dumb. I really feel like we need to plan for like that whole downtown, like the future of it. You know what I mean? Like we're doing a crosswalk, which alters where we put those lights and all that stuff. It's not just a matter of pulling paint off and moving it. It's now we're talking infrastructure of those lights.
Yeah, I mean, currently we have crosswalk at both, right? East
I don't
and
know.
west.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Right, and so, it really is not that big a deal to me, I just bring it up as a point, is that with the residents have a choice which one they wanna use. And
Yeah.
From my perspective, almost everybody uses the east, from what I see already, so,
And that was my feeling too, Jim.
yeah,
Yeah, but
so, I mean,
When I did the
I
math.
like the idea of adding another parking spot, so
Yeah.
I'm not gonna, I mean, it's only 10 feet, I'm not gonna argue that it makes more sense this way or that way, I just wanna bring up the point that,
yeah.
I mean, we are, everybody has already, for the most part, I would say it's the overwhelming majority use the other side, so we're just gonna be making everybody go to the other side of the street. There'll be enough changes, I don't think it's that big of a deal,
No,
but
and
we are bucking against what everybody already has chosen as their preferred.
currently, but in
Is
10
that
years
the-
from
Is
now,
that the one where the light is though? Is on that east one? The flashing light is on the east one, isn't it?
Nobody
Is
pays.
it on the
there's
west?
a flashing
I
light.
pay attention to the flashing light.
I think it's on the west one.
I'll tell you, a lot of
It's
people
on
don't
the
even
west.
stop for people crossing the street.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, but
I don't know, I just did math, and I thought
Yeah.
19 versus 5, I'm like, okay, this is crazy, we really do need to keep it more centrally located. And it's
mean,
really more
there's-
centered, if you
there's
look at an aerial of the downtown, it is more centrally located.
Yeah, but there's a crosswalk at Mill Street too. So if you were to
yeah, it's
assume
further
that,
down.
if you went further over, there's a crosswalk there, so you assume that is the crosswalk, most of the businesses down the Opera House and Hardtails and
Now,
other places,
maybe.
Heritage that are there, those, very likely, those would be the
Main
ones. that
intersection would be the ones that are up to the east too, so I mean, because that one's pretty
Yeah.
close too, so.
Yeah, and
I think it's a horse
I'm not
and
making
piece,
an
honestly,
argument, I'm
but
just
I
saying,
guess
just.
It was
just,
the math that did me.
Yeah.
So I don't even know.
But if we're tearing it all up anyway, it's all gonna be brand new
It's
to
gonna make
everybody.
Yeah.
So it'll be a good time to make that
Yep.
change,
Well-
and
Yep.
then it's done.
Yep.
Cause it's gonna be new to everybody.
Yeah.
I mean,
I was sold when they said there was another parking spot.
Potential.
I mean, I just wanted to bring it up,
Potential.
just
Yeah.
so everybody
The
is
idea of
aware
parking,
that,
but
we
So
are
Nathan, is this-
making everybody go somewhere.
is this something that we don't need to do like a change request or anything, but this is still in that phase where we can change stuff?
Well, so it's currently out to bid right now with it there. It would probably have to be done as a change order with the chosen contractor. He hasn't started any of the work yet, he's not ordering anything additional. There may be some additional engineering that needs to be done when you do the change so that he has a set of plans he can work for. So there probably will be some cost, but I'm guessing it would be pretty minimal to making this change at this point.
Sorry, we should have done the math before. And you guys were pushing for the west, and we all said east, and I will admit it, I was wrong.
I don't think it makes a big difference. I think we have to-
Everyone's good with that? Okay. 10, report of village officials. A, clerk treasurer, Jane.
My report was in the packet.
Any questions for Jane? Okay. B, director of public works, Aaron.
My report is in the packet. Just a reminder, we do have a public works committee meeting scheduled before the next board meeting on the 5th.
C, police chief, Brian.
Report is in the packet, just a couple things that I didn't put in there. As of the 13th, Brianna Walgard is off probation, so she's fulfilled her probationary period. And Jack's doing a really good job in training. He's due to come off of training early April.
Any questions for Brian? Okay, D, Library Director, Ally.
I handed out a report. This is, the first 2 pages are what we took down to Madison for Library Legislative Day last week. We met with 2 senators and 2 representatives to talk about our library in particular, but also our library's impact on the community. So I also included a 3rd page just for you. With our library more by the numbers. So I've mentioned it before that our municipal population is much, much smaller than our service population. And that creates significant, unique challenges for us. We're kind of in a library desert in our area where the next closest library is New London, but then the next closest is Appleton. So we really draw in a lot of Greenville, a good fair amount of Grand Chute, but also Dale, Ellington, and then we actually get a decent amount of Acton users as well. So the first graph, because I really like graphs, just shows the size comparison of our surface population compared to who actually lives here. However, with 4,400 registered library users, only 26% of that actually live here in the village of Hortonville. The rest are Hortonia, Dale, Greenville, all of the other municipalities around us. What I found really interesting this year is that we had 84,000 checkouts, but only 18% of that was to people here in town. So we really are getting a lot of folks from out of town using our library, which is a really, really good thing, because that final graph is what is used to calculate our county funding. So we want people that don't live in Hortonville to use our library, because that is what determines county funding. Of the residents that live in Outagamie County, only 4.5% of them have a library in their municipality. Most likely parts of Appleton, parts of New London, because they're so close by, Shiocton. But 95% of them are in a community that does not have a library. And that's huge. That really shows that we are in this service desert. It's a complicated formula that is written into state statute on how libraries get their county reimbursement funding, but it all comes down to the folks who don't live here. And we are very proud to support that many people that don't have a library in their district. Last year, 2025 alone, we had 1,500 in revenue just in printing and faxing, because the majority of places that require faxing, insurance, taxes, healthcare, things like that, will not take things by email. They have to fax it. And we are one of the only places that will still do that. We charge a nominal fee, but we exist for that purpose. The biggest thing that I want to stress is we have a library that, like, I could get on a soapbox and talk about libraries for hours. Obviously, I'm in the right profession, but like, if you don't have a library in your community, you do not have vital access to things that we provide. Computer usage, printing, faxing, tax forms is a really big one right now. You can get tax forms at your library. We print them for you. But things as far as like retirement savings, estate planning, things that we have books from the black and white books for newborns all the way up to retirement savings, estate planning, writing your will, things like that. Like, public libraries serve just literally everyone. And our annual report this year really showed that, and we are extremely proud of that this year. So, tooting our horn.
You should. It's a
Good
good
job.
library, yeah.
Any questions for Ally? Okay, we'll go to E, attorney, Ashley. Okay. F, administrator, Nathan.
Just kinda had a conference last week, this week, I was out of the office on Monday and halfway through Tuesday, and then basically prepping for this meeting and spent some time with, planning for changing that, fire fee. It's not as simple as, just doing a flat fee. We have to kind of base it off of something, so I'm using kind of what's been suggested by Ellers, to base it off of square footage, of the building sizes. Basically, some of the other ways that municipalities have charged are currently in litigation for some of the stuff, whether it's based off assessed values. Don't know what those will end up with, but, so the suggested route would be to tie it towards, size buildings, basically. So, I'm working on some of those to kind of show you guys a preliminary look of what that looks like. So.
Any questions for Nathan? Okay, G, building permit report, there is none in the packet. H, any other miscellaneous topics for future discussion? Are there any? Okay, then we will go to 11, communications and miscellaneous business. A, Black Otter Lake District News, Bob.
Nothing new. Our next meeting is April 9th,
Okay. B, Hortonville Hortonian Fire District News, Jim.
Nothing.
Okay. C, Gold Cross Ambulance Run Report and News, it is in the packet. D, Hortonville Civic Association, Jane.
Nothing new.
And E, Senior Activities.
Nothing new except I was not able to attend, but I have heard they had a great turnout on Monday for the Historical Society viewing, so that's nice to hear.
Okay, then we will move to 12. Comments and suggestions from citizens present. Are there any? Okay, 13, I would need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. It is 6:30.